So again, we're welcoming you a little bit of information on the left-hand side, some contact information for emails and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, which is all part of Trails Day. Today, it's as much social media as it is anything to get people to attend. So add your questions as we go along to the chat, and Megan will keep an eye on that, and we'll answer them if we can in real time, or we'll have some time at the end of the session to answer more questions. So next screen, Megan. So as I mentioned before, I'm Chuck Toll. I'm the Trails Day coordinator for CFPA. And my partner is Megan Strange, and she's the communications coordinator for the Connecticut Forest and Park Association. So we will be glad to run this webinar for you, give you a lot of information, and help answer your questions. So next screen. I'm going to start out with a big picture. And we covered this last year in the webinar, and that webinar is still posted on our resources page. So if you'd like more information about some of the basics of Trails Day, you can click on that webinar from last year and get more information. But Trails Day is really a function of the American Hiking Society. And Connecticut Forest and Park Association was an early adopter of Trails Day. And Trails Day was originally created to steward trails, to maintain trails, to get people outside. So today, tens of thousands of people, hikers, bikers, paddlers, horseback riders, and a number of clubs and federal and local agencies and land trusts and business all come together the first weekend of June to celebrate our trails. So we feel that that's the spirit of Trails Day here in Connecticut. Connecticut Forest and Park Association is Connecticut's oldest conservation group. It was founded in 1895. And our mission really is to connect people. And connecting people with the outdoors is really what Trails Day is all about. So it fits right into our wheelhouse as to a great event that supports our trails, supports a great organization, and it improves the features of our state. So in 1929, Connecticut Forest and Park Association created the first Blue Blaze Trail, and today there are 825 miles of trails that are around the state. It's a great system in 96 towns. There's no other trail system like it. And in general, CFPA advances education, stewardship, conservation through programs like Trails Day and others like the Woodlands Manager Program and Learning Tree for Kids. So Trails Day, Connecticut Forest and Park Association is a wonderful organization. If you don't belong, become a member today. It's great. Thank you. So let's get started on a statewide celebration of Trails Day. It's grown into 2 days from the one day that American Hiking Society originally founded, with events throughout the state. As I mentioned before, there are 200 events in 100 towns. So that's pretty remarkable. Every event is free. Every event is guided. We want people there to help people experience something for the first time and keep everyone safe. So every event has a guide, and it breaks down barriers to the outdoors and allows people to explore something for the first time that they may not do on their own. So you as a leader are an ambassador to our trails and our state. You make Trails Day possible. You are making it welcoming and safe and accessible. You're sharing knowledge about your community, about where we live. And that's what this year's Trails Day is really all about. And you can invite participants to connect with nature and your community. It's a great way to share that experience. And as I said, you serve as ambassadors for Connecticut Trails and CFPA's mission. That's very important to tell what CFPA does along with your hike information. It helps us protecting these wonderful resources by promoting responsible recreation, volunteerism, and stewardship and engagement with the outdoors. It's really a wonderful venue to accomplish so much with thousands of people on a nice, beautiful June weekend. As you can see, people have a great time. Thank you so much for everybody for sending in pictures. We're going to give you a link to upload photos after your trails day. So we've got some great photos that we'd like to share with everybody. There are three things that we would like to do today. First, we'd like to get your event information ready for Trails Day. Most of you, everybody has submitted your information, but we're going to give you an opportunity to edit it and improve it if you want to do that. Second step is to communicate with your attendees to know who's coming and how to reach them. And third, Megan's going to talk about how CFPA is promoting Trails Day and how you can promote your event within the context of our promotions. Again, if you have questions, ask your questions in the chat. Are you ready? Let's get set and let's get outside. Here are some tips and tools to boost your information and attendance. So first of all, information is really king today. It really matters. Good event information is the foundation of good attendance. If you have just one or two sentences that says, come to my hike, it's fun, doesn't really grab attention. So we're going to give you a couple of ways to be able to tweak that and make it a little bit better. We also want to make sure that the information in your site is correct, it's accurate, it's up to date, and make it exciting and interesting for people to read. And event details help participants decide which event to go to. We have literally thousands of people that visit our site and go through all of these events. And if your event grabs their eye, they're going to attend. So it's really important to get that information that makes it exciting. Just a note at the bottom are some helpful tips throughout today's presentation. And this one I think is a great one. Ask yourself, if you read your event, would you want to sign up for your event based upon your description? If your answer is, I don't know, it might be time to give it a tweak. So we're going to tell you how to make your event information shine. Let's polish it up a little bit to make it interesting. First of all, it's important to lead with the experience. What will people see? What will they do? How will they feel about some of the things that they see? Share that in your description. What are the highlights of your event? Beautiful views, beginner friendly, wildlife? Are those the things that people will expect to see when they attend your event? Being specific also helps people. There are some people that can't hike 5 miles. If you don't share the difficulty and the ruggedness of your trail, people may come on your event who may not be able to complete it. So it's important to be specific with the distance and what they're expected to see. And last, the practical details. Bring a water bottle. How about a snack? Who's it for? Are kids welcome? How old are those kids? We're going through some of our families in the park listings and making sure that can a young elementary school kid complete a 4 or 5 mile hike. We want to review those kinds of things to make sure that your event description is appropriate for the people who are going to attend your event. How do we do that? Well, first of all, here's an example of an event that gives a brief description. Join us for a hike. We'll walk in the woods, bring water. Not really an attention grabber. Here's a suggestion for an improvement. Explore the hidden gems of your trail name or town on this beginner-friendly 3-mile loop. We'll wind through some peaceful hemlock groves, across scenic footbridge, enjoy the views, some other features, perfect for families and first-time hikers. Bring water, good shoes, don't forget your camera. Those are kinds of things that are very inviting for people who are considering attending your event. Here's how we do that. If you need to make a change, go to trailsday.org. Many of you recognize this landing page on the left. In the upper right is a login button. So you as a leader can click this login button to access your leader dashboard. And this is a new tool this year. This is one place where you can both edit your event and download participant information. So this is a one-stop shop for you as a leader to manage all the aspects of your event. So you can do this yourself and keep your events accurate. So next, and registration, by the way, opens on May 6th. So once you click on that link, here's what you'll see: a leader login. You'll enter the email address that you used to register your event in the top line. Leaders who sponsored an event last year, and if you remember your password from last year, you can enter it here in this screen. For leaders who forgot last year's password, or new leaders this year who never got a password, can click on Forgot Password below that, and you'll get a screen to establish a password that you'll remember that's appropriate to you. So it's easy to do. If you remember last year, that's fine. If not, you can set the new one up. So once you've done that and entered your password, you'll get a second screen, which is number 2 down below. And it's about your leader events. On the left-hand side, it says My Details, and that's simply your name, your address. It has your email, but you can't change that email because that's how everything links together in our website. My Events will show you the different events. If you had more than one event, they'll all be listed there. My Event Attendees, and those are people who are attending your event, and bottom is a logout. So if you click on My Events, you'll see a button on the right, how to edit my events. So you'll get this screen that'll come up on the left-hand side that looks very much like the pages that you used to enter your primary event. So you can go ahead in here and change the date, change the time, change the description, change the distance, change the capacity and the meeting location, and several other features. You can keep it up to date. If it looks rainy, you can remind people to bring rain gear, or if it's going to be delayed. Keeping the event up to date on this page is key. Don't forget to scroll to the bottom because there's a button down there that says Update Your Event, and that will save the information in there. The tip at the bottom is kind of important here. If you don't see the field that you need to edit, in other words, if you wanted to change the name of your event, you can't edit this in this field because the name of the event is how we link all of our information together with you and your email in our system that keeps track of all our events. So if you have to change the name of your event, send me an email at trailsday@ctwoodlands.org, or any other bit of information that you don't see on this page. Send that information to me, and I'm more than glad to make those edits for you so that they're done well. So the next button down says My Event Attendees. And you click on that and you'll see your events there. So if you have more than one, click on the event that you want to download information about your attendees. So My Event entries to access all of your registration lists. And it can quickly see how many and who is coming. The button at the bottom will allow you to download an Excel CSV, comma separated values. It gives you people's first name, last name, email address, and cell number. This is a great way to stay in touch with all of your people who are attending your event. Use these contacts to send information or reminders or updates before your event. A great suggestion, once you see that somebody is signed up for the event, send them a quick note and say, welcome, we're glad to have you. Looking forward to seeing you in a few days, and we'll be in touch. So that constant contact reassures people that you're aware that they are attending your event. If
Chuck,
you'd like more information about that, check last year's webinar. Yes.
So we do have a question in the chat. Linda's asking, she's the secondary leader, but the one who posted the event. The primary leader is not available for a bit, so she's wondering, as leader two, can she edit the event? Um, and if you'd like me
Yes.
to answer that question, I can. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yes. You can edit it as long as you have the original username and password. If that leader shares that with you, you can go in, but we don't have a second username and password for a co-leader. So you would have to use the information from the leader's email and their password.
And the other thing that you can do, if your leader, primary leader, isn't available to kind of edit information, it might make sense to switch who's the primary leader to someone who is going to be able to manage the event and update that information and collect the registrations as
Okay.
well.
I also see a question from Mark. Hey, Mark, how are you? As new leaders, when we were able to, will we be able to create a password? I just tried and don't seem to be able to do so yet. One of the things is you want to make sure that you're using the same email address that you used to register the event. And you should be able to do that because your event is published. And if you still have difficulty, send me an email and we'll look in to see if there is a situation that's preventing you from do that. So, yes, you can go in and update a rain date if you want to. Yes, thank you, Janet. So we've covered two or three things here. Um, we've talked about how to log in and review your event, make updates to your event, and prep your communications so you can stay in touch with your participants throughout this. And as I mentioned before, if you have any questions, I'm more than glad to help you out. Remember, registration opens on May 6th, so check your inbox and don't forget to check your spam or filter because sometimes those email messages get trapped in a junk folder or spam folder. So I'm going to turn it over to Megan right now. She's got some great things to talk about how we at CFPA are promoting Trails Day this year, as well as things that you can do to promote your event. So take it away, Megan.
Thank you, Chuck. Yeah, Chuck has a lot of great information he shared. And as you mentioned before, we did do a webinar last year where he covered a lot more than what he did this year. So if you haven't seen it already, definitely feel free to go to that website, trailsday.org/resources, and watch the webinar from last year. I love it. It's a great piece. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about what CFPA is doing to promote Connecticut Trails Day this year. Um, we do continue to do some of the similar same things that we do year after year. Um, as CFPA, one of our main goals is really just to drive awareness for the entire Trails Day weekend and get people excited to participate. So when we're doing our promotions, you'll notice that we're posting in the news, in the radio. If anyone listens to Connecticut Public while they're driving, you might hear our ad leading up to Trails Day. We're also sending out posters to town halls, into libraries, and boosting information out on social media and through our email contacts to get the word out there. Some new things that we're going to be doing this year is we are going to be trying out some ads, see how those ads run on social media for the month of May, trying to drive people to trailsday.org. We've also done a little bit of search engine optimization work with trailsday.org. So hopefully it shows up more when people are looking for activities to do in June. Um, you can see on the left here is a quick example of one of the posts that we do leading up to Connecticut Trails Day. We do this cool events feature where we like to feature a few events leading up to Connecticut Trails Day. Some of these events are CFPA sponsored or on Blue Blaze Hiking Trails, but they're also events that have something unique, novel, something that would really excite someone to drive them to trailsday.org to learn more. So if you plan a cool event, you might make the cut this year. Um, with all the work that we're doing to promote Trail State as a whole, I think it's really important for our leaders for you to promote your events individually. That's really where you're going to see people coming to your event page, signing up, attending, and joining you on the day of celebration. We put out every year toolbox materials for you guys to help with those promotions. So things like flyers, posters, social media templates, promotion tips, and more. You can access those all under the leader resources on the resource page. Something else that you can do as you're doing your leader promotions, I think it's important to also tag CFPA. I have both of our Instagram and Facebook handles there, as well as our X at CT Woodlands, and then use those hashtags. This helps, people within our network find your post. It notifies us when you post something so we can share it to our stories and help your reach. And then also, as people are clicking around on this hashtag, maybe they will find your event out there. So it's a great way to generate some of that buzz. In addition to posting on social media, share your link with people that are in your network, people that are local to you, those local groups. They're going to be a great resource to get the word out and then invite people to join you. So Trails Day is all about building that community of trails and conservation advocates. And it's about inviting people out on the trail with you. So look to see if you have any local officials, reporters, content creators who can join you day of, or maybe beforehand, film some content that you can use later. And then once again, don't forget those leader resources. We are adding more and more things to it every single week. So right now we have those promotion tips, which are going to go a lot more in depth than I will be, about different places that you can promote, different groups to look for, and have some of those guidances of how to go about doing so. And you can find those all at trailsday.org/resources. So, one of the things that I really wanted to share this year, after listening to feedback from you guys about your promotions last year, is some new practical ways to help promote your event. I think what can be a little bit difficult, if you're a smaller organization or if you're just, using social media as an individual, you notice that there's a lot of content out there. And sometimes it's overwhelming. I even have myself when I go and scroll through my phone, there's a lot of information and I find I miss a lot of things. So these tips are really aiming at elevating what you are already doing, not necessarily giving you new things to create, new things to do. Um, One of the first ways that I would try to elevate what you're already doing is by considering maybe doing a small boost on your post. So, if you're already creating a social media post, you can do something called a boost. And what that does is for a small fee, it takes that post you put out and puts it in front of more people's feeds. So it helps you reach your existing followers who may have missed your post. It also helps you get in front of new followers or new groups. And you can also very coolly target people in a specific geographic area. So you may find that a lot of your attendees year after year, they're people within your community. They only maybe live 15, 30 minutes away. So you can really focus where you're boasting into that area that's around your event because those people are going to be the most likely to attend with you that day. And I think even just $5 to $10 can make a big difference for those. So how do you boost a post? You can see here on the bottom left, I have a first screenshot. Step number one is you want to look for that button. It may look a little bit different on Facebook and on Instagram, but you want to look for a button that says Boost Post. Once you find that button and click it, you'll come to a new window where you can do lots of things. So you can set a goal for your post, whether you're looking to raise awareness or get engagement. I think both are great options for any sort of promotion, but they do slightly different things. Awareness is going to put your post on more feeds in front of more eyes, get more reach, whereas engagement is going to encourage more people to interact with your post. So that's going to be things like sharing, commenting. Both are great options, and I think you could get by with either one. Next, you'll want to set your audience. So this is where you can set that geographic location if you want to target a specific area. Or you can, target young families if your event is great for families. Or even think about interests. So if you have an event that is designed for like the recreationist who loves going out for 11-mile hikes, you can find people based on their interest and someone who is interested in outdoor recreation and extreme sports. Next, you set your budget. You could do, I would recommend, if this is your first time boosting, try a small budget, 5, 10, even $20, and just do it for a small duration. The smaller the budget, and the longer length of time, the less you'll get your post in front of people because it does spend that budget every single day. But a $10 to $20 budget in either a week or a 2-week duration is a great way to maximize that visibility. And then once you are set with that duration, you can just boost posts and get it out there. When it comes to timing, I would recommend thinking about boosting these posts maybe that week before Trails Day or that 2 weeks before Trails Day. We know year after year, we get a lot of signups in that 2 weeks before Trails Day because the weather, we have a better understanding of the forecast. If it's sunny, people are going to be looking for things to do. So by getting your post out and in front of a lot of people during that period, you'll maximize your chance of getting people to actually sign up for your event. My third tip for practical stuff this year is to create a timeline. Um, I would recommend you post more than once, more than once during the Trails Day promotion period. Excuse me. Um, People are busy. People miss things. It's easy to lose information in a social media feed. So by posting more than once, you're building consistency and you're building awareness and you're building momentum. Um, I know a lot of folks do create a timeline, a preparation timeline. So 3 weeks before your event, you're thinking about those promotions. 1 week, you're thinking about maybe doing a test hike. The day before, you're sending out those notifications about we're excited to see you. We can't wait to see you there. Here's some things to bring for the day. So build these promotions into that timeline to make sure you're posting regularly and getting the word out there. If you haven't already watched last year's webinar, once again, feel free to definitely check that out. Chuck went over a lot about, that week by week timeline preparing and leading up to Connecticut Trails Day. So that gives you a great idea of what you can expect and what's good to do leading up so you have a great event waiting. And then my fourth tip is going to be to target your outreach. So I've talked about audiences a little bit already. Targeting someone in a specific area or a specific demographic. What that targeting does is that it gets the message in front of the right person. So someone has a young family, they're likely to not be as interested in doing that 11-mile hike. But if you are doing a 2-mile hike, that's easy. You're doing lots of education activities. That's a great event to get in front of families. So think about who that event is for. I do want to stress that, all Trails Day events are open to the public. Everyone is welcome. But sometimes we plan events that are better suited for different skill sets or different levels of activities. So thinking about them, and planning out who they are is a great way to get in front of them. Once you find them, go to them. Don't wait, be proactive. You don't want to wait for people to find you because then it might be too late. So work on researching who those folks are and where they are. You want to find where that audience hangs out. So there's a lot of resources, a lot of groups, a lot of apps out there that different communities, different groups use to get information and connect with each other. You have Facebook groups, you have things like homeschool groups, parenting groups, hiking groups. Those are great groups to get your post posted in. You do just want to check their rules first. Many groups have individual rules for that, with some guidelines on what they allow and don't allow. But it would be a great group to capture. Also, look for those local newsletters and community boards. What those offer for you, maybe that your own current newsletter or community board doesn't, is they often are regularly posting events. They're regularly getting events out there. So people are coming to them to look for events. And that's a prime audience for you to get in front of, promote your event, and say, hey, I got this exciting thing for you to attend. Um, and they're often open to promoting something local to them. So connect with them and see if they would be willing to add it to their materials. Once again, if you're doing a family-friendly hike, connect with school departments, recreation departments, let them know you're running an event that would be great for children to join with their families, their parents, their guardians, so they can get outside. And then also look for those local outdoor and recreation groups. Once again, they're often doing events. They're often even just a group as a whole that is getting outside. So that's a target group to get in front of. And with all the promotions that you're doing, I just want to reiterate, like, don't forget to mention CFPA. We want to be part of your promotions and we want your promotion to be part of ours. So mention that you're doing a Connecticut Trails Day event. Share that CFPA coordinates it. Attach yourself to this broader movement that is happening within the state. What we're really doing is we're developing that community of trails and conservation advocates. We're connecting them to the broad community and creating that strong collective impact so that although we're doing Trails Day weekend in the first weekend of June, there's tons of other opportunities to get involved with different organizations, different movements to create a greener, better, conserved Connecticut. So once again, tag us at CT Forest and Park Association. It's the best way to mention us and helps us to be able to see your posts so we can share them to our story. And then when you share your posts on social media, make sure to use your trailsday.org unique event URL so that people can explore all that Trails Day has to offer. Let's see. So with that, I know that was just a brief covering of some promotion and practical tips. I hope you'll check out those leader resources that will be on the site. Like I said, we are adding more and more materials to that. So that'll be able to go more in depth. And of course, Chuck and I are here for the next 10 minutes to answer any questions in an open Q&A. And of course, you can always email us. We're here to help you guys, and we want to just have a great Trails Day.
Thanks, Megan. Very informative. Thank you so much. There's a lot going on here. CFPA has made a big investment in Trails Day, in advertising, social media, websites, and it's all for you to help you have the best Trails Day experience and for your participants to do that. So we're very pleased that you've joined us here today. Use the chat box if there's any questions here. We've got about another 5 or 10 minutes to answer any questions. But hopefully, if you have some of those questions, let us know and we can answer them. A couple of you have posted questions that we need to get back to you on. A couple of surprises coming along here and things that are happening that we need to look into. But all in all, things are going along pretty well. So thank you very much for the Mark for the comment. Very helpful. Glad it helped you out. And yes, Barbara, yes, Trails Day at ctwoodlands.org is the best way to reach me. So no problem. Don't hesitate to do that, and we'll get right back in touch with you. So, and I think Megan mentioned before, we have the Leader Summit coming along in a couple of weeks. Come and join us. It's a nice venue in East Hampton, Connecticut. I was just there yesterday and shared a beer. So we're looking forward to having everybody come and celebrate together and meet Trails Day leaders from across the state. Thanks, Jeff, for the nice comment. You're welcome. I hope it was helpful to everybody. So we appreciate your coming and your time that you have here today. So, just a few reminders, as Megan mentioned. Um, the final days to register any event is just 8 days away. We have about 200 in already. Participant registration opens on the 6th of May. The summit is on the 4th of June and Trails Day is on the 6th. So some exciting times coming along. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Andrew. All you people are very wonderful and complimenting, and we appreciate the help. One question from David. The summit is planned to start at 5 p.m. The venue has some great things to do, like darts and cornhole and all sorts of fun activities that are there, in addition to some great beer and brews. So it'll run probably from 5 to 7. And then they have a trivia night planned after that, so you can hang out if you'd like at the venue. Glad it was helpful.
Great.
Thanks, Linda.
Gary asked a question. So how did Trails Day come about and how did CFPA come into existence? If you want to tackle the Trails Day question, I'll tackle the CFPA one.
Sure. Trails Day was originally a way that American Hiking Society realized that they could get volunteers out on the trail to help maintain trails. And it was really about um, getting people engaged and involved and helping and maintaining, even if it was a volunteer to pick up trash or a volunteer that knew how to build a bridge. It was a way to bring people in to help maintain those trails. And it's grown beyond that, but that was the original formation of Trails Day. And I think it's been, I'm going to say at least 25 years ago that that started. So it started out very small and it's now a national event.
Mhm. And one of the best things about Connecticut Trails Day is that we have the largest Trails Day celebration in the nation. So no one is doing as many events as we do, which is a very exciting and rewarding thing that I think um, you guys should feel proud about being a participant of and a leader of. So CFPA came into existence. We were formed in 1895 by a group of concerned citizens who were really concerned about the state of the outdoors in Connecticut, the forest in Connecticut. It's hard to believe it these days because you can look outside and see forests almost wherever you are, but the forest used to be only about maybe 20% forested. So CFPA formed as a way to connect people to the outdoors, get them outside into the forests, parks, and trails, to inspire them to be advocates for these places. And then through our four main program areas of conservation, environmental education, advocacy, and trails recreation, work to get these places protected and stayed well managed for future generations. So we've been in the state for I think if I can do my math real quick, 131 years, which is a long time. And we work together with many wonderful organizations who work with us to preserve what we have in the state, conserve it, and make sure these places, these special places, are around for future generations. So Connecticut Trails Day is just one of our many programs, getting people outside and connecting them to these places. Right now, we are in the Capitol with our pushing our conservation agenda through for some matters that concern the outdoors in Connecticut here. And we have actually a quick promo. We are going to be opening soon, getting ready for enrollment for the Master Woodland Manager program. So if you've heard of it, you'll know it's well-touted and wonderful program to join. If you haven't, it's a year-long forestry education program for adults, for landowners or folks who may be owning land in the state. So you can learn about forestry, learn about sustainable practices, and manage the land that you either own or manage on behalf of for conservation goals. Um, and if you're not already involved with us elsewhere as a volunteer or a donor, I always strongly recommend you get involved with us. We have tons of other activities going on throughout the year, events, and as I steal from Chuck this phrasing, like if you love being outside, if you love getting outside, hiking, going into the woods and seeing all the critters and leaves there, then become a member and become a volunteer, and help us extend that impact.
I'd like to add to that because Megan's put it beautifully. You're going to have people who are attending your event, and I would ask each of you to take a minute or two to just tell your attendees about Connecticut Forest and Park. And if they're not already a member, encourage them to become a member and support this organization. If you love the outdoors, you're going to love CFPA. And so this is CFPA's largest outreach of the year. And you are our voices. And so, in addition to telling people about the day that they're going to experience with you, take a moment to tell them about Connecticut Forest and Park. And I think this is a wonderful way to end this webinar. And thank you so much for attending, and thank you so much for delivering that message. So, just one last call. If you have any other questions, pop that into the text box. If there's things that you have in particular about your event, send me an email at trailsday@ctwoodlands.org, and I'll be glad to get back to you as quick as I can. So a big thank you from us for your time today and your leadership in participating in Trails Day. So thank you, everybody, and we hope to see you out on the trail.
Yeah, I see one more question from Gary. He asked about the New England Trail. So the New England Trail, if you go to our website, ctwoodlands.org, we have an interactive map on there. And you can see the New England Trail. I would say it starts in Guilford and pretty much travels up the center of the state, up going into Massachusetts and beyond. So I believe it's the Metacomet Trail that is part of it. If Claire is joined with us right now, she could send a quick message and tell me if I'm right or wrong. And then a few other trails. The New England Trail is a great trail to get out on if you haven't yet. We manage a portion of it, the Connecticut portion, in conjunction with the National Park Service, and then AMC manages the Massachusetts portion. So it's about 230 miles, 35 miles of trail.
Another question that's there, any chance we could share your slides with the participants in this webinar? Yes, this PowerPoint will be posted in the resources tab at trailsday.org. When you click on your resources, there's a section for leaders, and this PowerPoint will be there along with a recording of this webinar. So you'll have both the recording and the slides that Megan has prepared for you here. So yes, good question.
While we have just 1 minute left, I do want to give a couple of shout outs. One, I see Janet joined us, Janet Hunley. She's our volunteer extraordinaire who helps us each year with getting the word on Connecticut Trails Day out. So she's an amazing, amazing woman who's really getting out there, getting the word out, and helping, CFPA, but also you guys get those promotions in those high level places. So
Yep.
she does an amazing work, and we
He
couldn't do
gets
it
us
without her.
on TV,
Yeah.
radio interviews, newspapers. Last year we were on almost every national or local TV station in the weather. So Janet, thank you so much. You do an amazing job.
And then, also I'll shout out just some organization news if anyone hasn't heard yet. But CFPA has welcomed a new executive director, so we're very excited to welcome Joey Listro to our staff. He comes to us from New Britain Roots. If you haven't already, check out some of the news we've shared recently about him. It'll have more information about the organization and his role coming into the organization. And hopefully there'll be some opportunities throughout the year and maybe with Trails Day as well to get a chance to meet him and connect with him. And then also want to shout out Claire, who has been our interim executive director for the past year and has done an amazing job. She has kept the organization running, and she will be moving into a new role, very excitingly. She's moving into the deputy executive director role, where she'll continue to help with organization stuff as well as manage the trails and conservation departments. Um, Janet Ainsworth, not Janet Hunley, said she still has her poster from when she first participated in 2008. You should, if you're coming to the Leader Summit, you should definitely bring that. I think that would be really fun. We usually do a oldest Connecticut Trails Day t-shirt contest. Maybe we should extend that to an oldest Connecticut Trails Day poster contest. See how many contests we can get running. Um, Invitations will be going out soon for the summit, so we would love for you guys to join us in person so we don't just have to chat over the Zoom chat box and we can connect in person and get to know each other. Yeah, with all of that, an additional thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring Connecticut Trails Day and helping making this event possible for participants. I think we will leave it at here. I don't see any additional questions. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you. I hope you learned some new tips and tricks and try out that new leader dashboard. Each year we try to make Trails Day better and better for you and the attendees. I hope you walk away feeling great, and we look forward to honestly another great Trails Day celebration each year. It's amazing that each year it can be so fun, but it really is. So
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for your time. We'll see you on the trail.
thank you guys.